It's that gray area of the NFL offseason between free agency, the big names have been signed, and the NFL draft. Officially draft season, but why not take some time and look at some roster locks for the Arizona Cardinals? Bo Brock hanging out with you from PHNX Cardinals. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube here at PHNX Sports. Follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Cardinals, Twitter and Instagram. Like this video. Yeah, let's take a look at it. The Cardinals roster, just about 80 players, right? And they're trying to get to 90 before training camp. They got the draft, a 6-player draft class. And we'll start to look at who's a lock to make the Cards roster come this September post-training camp and preseason. The quarterback room, for the first time in 2 years, Kyler Murray is going to have a different backup QB. QB2 is not QB Tune. Clayton Tune looking like he could be the odd man out in the quarterback room with the addition of Jacoby Brissett, who brings a veteran presence. Our guy Mike Garafolo, NFL Insider, says he's a top 5 backup quarterback in this league. So you look at the QB room, it's Kyler Murray, it's Jacoby Brissett. And best case scenario for Clayton Tune, practice squad. I think there's a belief in Tune. I think he'll compete. But at the end of the day, you got the 2 QBs there and Kyler and Brissett. Going to the running back room, it's a carbon copy from last season. How about James Conner? Trey Benson going into year 2. Amari Dermercado, your third down back, plays some teams. DJ Dallas, the ultimate special team return man. And then you've got Michael Carter, who seems to be, once again, the odd man out. Will be fighting for a roster position, would have to do, probably move heaven and earth and be the next, I guess, version of Adrian Peterson out of nowhere to make this roster. So it's going to be an uphill climb for Carter. Well, Zonovan Knight looks like he's probably destined to be cut. Maybe he'll resurface as far as a practice squad player. Wide receiver room, similar running back room. Copy, paste with this room. We'll do a little tweak. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, your X and Z receivers, respectively, their main roles. Then you got Zay Jones as your 3-position wide receiver. He's depth. And then Greg Dortch should start in the slot along with his other duties. And then you got a second-year guy, and Xavier Weaver, undrafted person out of Colorado. Cardinals kept him on the active roster all season long. I don't see a similar role for him next season. I see an expanded role. Could he get into play himself into some routes? Could he play himself into some teams? I think so for the second-year player out of CU. Also a guy that they signed this offseason, Semi Fihoko, played with the Chargers out of Stanford, a bigger body wide receiver. I think he's just a younger version at 25 of Zach Pascal, who moved on to the New York Giants. As far as the rest of that room, some interesting battles. Quez Watkins, a speedy, stretch to field wide receiver from Philly. He was signed to a futures contract. The Andre Bocellia, of course, making his way up and off the Cardinals' active roster, the practice squad. He remains probably a practice squad player. Former draft pick Tajon Palmer, probably destined for the practice squad, and probably cut candidate Tristan Jackson. But looks like the wide receiver room, for the most part, copy, paste 2024 to 2025. Tight end room, similar. Trey McBride, TE1, top playmaker on this offense in the passing attack. Elijah Higgins, a good tight end too. Tip Ryman, your main blocking tight end. You like those that three-headed monster there for the tight end room. Travis Vokalek, he was extended an exclusive rights tender. He signed that. He's back on a 1-year deal. Still going to have to fight for a roster spot. He's a guy that was on the active roster last year, but not active only but 3 games last season was he active on the 53-46, right? Bernard Saikovitz, international pathway player, likely going to remain on the practice squad. That's an extra spot that the Cardinals receive from that cool program. The offensive line, running it back, baby. Paris Johnson Jr. at left tackle, Evan Brown at left guard. You got Yelda Froholt at center. And then, of course, you've got Isaiah Adams, second-year man at right guard, and Kelvin Beachum in the interim. Jonah Williams isn't ready to go, starting at right tackle. So you look at the O-line, running it back. Consistent group, basically under Jonathan Gannon going into year 3. A lot of continuity there between Paris, Yelda, Beach, Evan Brown now in his second season. Some names to look out for as far as that room. John Gaines, the second, going into year 3. There was a couple of opportunities for him to get a starting guard role. Didn't get it. He was playing fullback at one point last year, so a lot to prove in year 3. Also, Christian Jones, former 5th-round pick, something to prove in year 2 for him? Can he play that swing tackle role for the Cardinals post Calvin Beachum, Royce Newman, Jake Curran? They add depth to this, but fighting for a roster spot. And then you look at guys like Nick Leverett, Sincere Haynesworth. Those are going to be guys fighting for spots on the Cardinals' final 53. But the SOS is out. They are going to have to do something special to earn a spot. Not a lot of spots left on in that O-line room, and we'll see if they upgrade in the draft. Defensive front beefed up. Dalvin Tomlinson, you love to see it. Could get some help, though, as well in the draft as we start to look at this defensive line. I think, you look at your locks. It's second-year player Darius Robinson, D-Rob, L.J. Collier, Dante Stills, Dalvin Tomlinson, Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols. But, the ice underneath Nichols and Jones' feet could get a little bit thinner depending on what the Cardinals do in this defensive front draft coming up here at the end of April. Guys like Anthony Goodlow, Ben Stilley, they're going to be fighting to maybe earn a spot on the practice squad for the Cardinals. PJ Mustipher as well spent the entire campaign in 2024 there on the practice squad. Outside linebacker, of course, a position that the Cardinals wanted to upgrade this offseason. They did it with their biggest splash in free agency, reuniting Jonathan Gannon with Josh Sweat. And Josh Sweat comes up, and he's a versatile outside linebacker. He's going to give you, some upside as far as getting to the opposing quarterbacks. Zaven Collins, Baron Browning, and the long-awaited return of B.J. Ojulari, who tore his ACL in training camp last year. While you look at this room, I think Xavier Thomas, second-year, fifth-round pick. Could he be supplanted potentially by a rookie? Could he be a guy that ends up on the practice squad, a demotion, just based on the Cardinals wanting to upgrade that room? Could be something to follow along with. Let's look at off-ball linebacker, probably the biggest face change or, facelift on this defensive unit. You have Kazir White, looks like he's officially exited the organization via free agency. They bring in Akeem Davis-Gaither, ADG, special teamer, got an opportunity with the Bengals last year. Could he be your green dot Mike linebacker? The successor to Kazir looks like all signs are pointing to that. Mac Wilson Sr. comes back. He'll probably keep his role, hybrid role. Also, you look at this room, it's kind of tight, right? You got Owen Pappo. He's got to show something as a third-year player out of Auburn. He's, of course, at the freak on social media. He's got all the tools, but can he put it all together, get some defensive snaps, and continue to star on teams? Same thing goes for Michael Walker, somebody they signed away from the Commanders, primarily a special teamer, with a couple stops in Atlanta where he played some defensive snaps, but he makes his paycheck on special teams. Vi Jones, the brother of Zay Jones, probably a practice squatter. Milo Eifler, also a practice squatter, cut candidate. And Elliott Brown, going to have a tough time making the room as an off-ball linebacker. Let's go to the defensive backs room. And you got your starters. You got Sean Murphy-Bunting. You've got Max Melton, Starling Thomas V. You've got a big season that needs to happen for a guy who had a red shirt injury rookie season, Elijah Jones. So he's somebody you want to follow along, but certainly a lock for this roster. They're not going to get rid of a third-round pick in year 2. So those are your locks to make the roster. And then you look at some guys, they're going to have to make some moves in training camp in the preseason. Keeltrout Clark and recently signed Jalen Jones. So guys are going to have to play big on fourth down, special teams, and also can they spot, fill in the slot if they need to. Garrett Williams, of course, a stud. He's a lock. Darren Hall, who had a good preseason in training camp last year, he's always a fringe roster type. Going to have a Herculean effort or benefit from an unfortunate injury. And then you get to the stoutest room for the Cardinals, that safety room with studs all over the field, including special teams, because you include Joey Blunt here, who's re-signed this offseason. Buda Baker, Jalen Thompson got the extension, and Rabbit Taylor Demerson, second-year player, fourth-round pick out of Texas Tech. This team is really excited about Jamie Robinson. They signed late last season. It's a long shot to make this 53-man roster. And then you check out the specialists, right? Chad Ryland, he's took over for Matt Prater is your now special your place kicker. Consistent for the Cardinals, made some big kicks down the stretch. Blake Gillikin, who was lost for the season last year, he returns as the starting punter for this team. And Aaron Brewer, the ageless one is your long snapper. But when you look at this, look, there's a ton of locks, near locks for this Cardinals roster, close to 50 of them. Then you factor in that you've got a 6-player draft class, at least, as we steer here near April. There's going to be some tough decisions to make for Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort. But if you look at the players that spots are in jeopardy, that are not near locks, Clayton Tune, Michael Carter, John Gaines II, Xavier Thomas, Owen Papo, and Keitrell Clark, this preseason, this training camp, it's going to be pivotal for those guys. Who are near locks for you, and whose roster spots are in jeopardy in your opinion? Drop a comment, leave a like, and of course, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube.
We all silly like the mayor.